Sunset had fallen on the countryside, and the warmth of the day was fading with each passing moment. Vespers of an autumn breeze whispered through the fields, setting the amber stalks of corn into a somber dance. Yet with each swaying step, two interlopers were revealed, standing stark and defiant against the movement of their surroundings. And seeing their still forms, one might almost believe that they never breathed nor blinked. Such was certainly the common belief, perhaps shared even by the figures themselves, which made it all the more surprising when one of them spoke.
"My arms hurt, Frank."
The second figure remained motionless, though a flicker of expression may have crossed its face.
"Frank, my arms hurt."
"Damn it, Jed."
With a shuffling of cloth and straw, Frank turned to face his partner.
"When they sent you here, they said you'd be the best choice. You said you knew the rules. Now, shut up before someone hears you."
Silence returned to the field, broken only by rustling of currents through the corn. Even a nearby stream, which burbled happily in the hours of daylight, seemed to have hushed itself in preparation for the dusk. This night was an important one, and its task was all but sacred.
Who's gonna hear us, Frank?
It's not the point. What matters is, if someone did, we ain't supposed to talk.
Jed considered this, though the contents of his head were hardly suited for higher reasoning.
Well, so what? It's a stupid job anyways. Ain't nobody passed yet that hasn't laughed at us.
Frank sighed, removed his hat, and scratched his leathery skin.
Look, Jed, that may very well be. Fact is, it don't matter one bit. It's got to be done, you understand me?
No.
Good, what the hell do you mean, no? Ain't no one ever told you the story?
The straw around Jed's neck made a rasping noise as he shook his head.
Folks keep saying I'll learn it when I have the need, but I'm starting to think they don't know it themselves.
Oh, they know it all right.
Frank cleared his throat and made a spitting motion at the ground, though his lips remained dry.
They know it sure as they know their own names. Just that, well, it ain't exactly pleasant talk.
He sighed again, as much from the frustration of having to speak as from the thoughts of his next words.
See, there was a time, some many years ago, when these fields were beset by a plague. Not a plague of illness, mind, no. This plague came from the winged beast from the sky. Black as night they were, with voices like something from a nightmare.
"Crows," whispered Jed. His eyes scanned what little of the horizon he could see beyond the cornfield.
I've heard tell of them. Figured they were a children's tale.
Frank shifted his weight, adjusting the rigid stick on which he rested his arms.
That they may be, but there's truth in the stories. Crows are real enough, even if one scarcely hears of them in anything but legends these days. Back when their terror was at hand, they descended on these fields and ate their fill, leaving precious little for the folks who toiled with the seeds. It brought hardship on the land, leaving everyone desperate.
My arms still hurt, Frank.
Frank rolled his eyes.
We're talking, ain't we? Have a rest. Hell, sit down, for all that matters now.
Thanks, Frank.
Jed dropped from his post, crumpled to the ground, suddenly looking very much like a lifeless pile of rags.
So, what happened?
Though he opened his mouth to speak, Frank hesitated. On any other night, the words were just a story. But on this night, they might as well be something more.
You keep a listen for anything amiss, all right?
Jed nodded, and Frank resumed his tale.
It was a dark time, to be sure. Dark enough that some reckon they might employ a darkness of their own.
He closed his eyes to recite a secret verse, known only to those who stood watch in the field.
Gathered they the walls of green, left to dry by day, shaped into a sentinel, and clothing was the hay, set upon the torment fields against the demon Ka, given life by darkness, the men of naught but straw, gave to them the hallowed charge upon the darkest night, paid the price for vigilance when absence was the light. Gathered they one of the young, for empty demons craw, taken by the darkness, the men of naught but straw.
Strawman,
whispered Jed.
Strawman like us, Frank.
Frank's expression grew colder as he shook his head.
Don't you be thinking that way. The straw men were something other than living, Jed. Scared the crows away, they did, but at a terrible cost. They were dead inside, see? Stayed where they were meant to, like statues, save for one night a year, when they'd come alive and have a reaping. Only it weren't corn that they took, but a child. One child left outside past sunset.
Children are outside past sunset all the time, Frank.
Not on this night, Frank hissed.
He lowered his voice even further.
On this night, the children wear masks. The straw man can't see those who hide their eyes, not unless they look at the straw man first.
Jed fell silent, chastised. The sky had darkened considerably, with only the most tenacious rays of the dying light still piercing over the walls of corn. Somewhere in the distance, a woman's voice called out for her son.
Hey, Frank.
What?
I still don't get it, Frank.
Frank sighed yet again.
Don't get what?
Why we're out here? Why we got to stand here like this? Why folks laugh at us? I mean, we're a straw man, right, Frank?
In response, Frank launched a kick at his companion's leg.
Ow! Why'd you do that for?
If you was a straw man, do you reckon that would have hurt? You're flesh and blood, Jed. So how can you be a straw man?
Well, I mean, it's pretend, ain't it? I fill my clothes with straw and play make-believe, right?
Frank tapped a gloved hand against the side of his hat.
Up here, it might be pretend. But here?
He thumped his fist against his chest, making his stuffed shirt crackle.
It's all real. That's what matters, Jed.
He swung his arm wide, gesturing to the fields around them.
You want to know why you're out here? It's so the fear don't come back. Even one child being taken keeps that terror festering, keeps folks in mourning. Might as well have the crows back. But if someone goes and stand watch, then the straw men don't come walking. They can all rest easy. They can laugh at their fear and get on with their lives. Now do you get it?
I get it, Frank.
Jed Hurley replied.
I'm here to stand a watch. I get it.
Good. Now back up on your post. We got a long night ahead.
Jed retook his position, and Frank readjusted his own. The wind had died with the sunlight, leaving the cornfields completely still.
Hey, Frank.
Shut up.
Sorry.
Jed closed his mouth.
Only, what happened to him, Frank? To the children.
What children?
You know,
pushed Jed.
The children that they take away.
Jed turned to regard his companion. The poor boy was hardly out of his youth, with only the barest hint of stubble on his chin. Even in darkness, an earnest innocence twinkled in his eyes.
You sure you want to know, Jed?
Jed turned to meet Frank's gaze.
Yeah, Frank, I'm sure.
As he had done before, Frank reached up and removed his hat. Only this time, his entire head came away, leaving a ridge of clustered yellow steams coming from his shirt.
They become straw men, Jed. They become straw men.
Hey everybody, Night Shifter here. If you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you think you know someone who might like this type of stuff, don't forget to share also. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, don't forget to put that in the comment section. And thank you for listening.